What math is to the engineer is what music theory is to the composer. What I mean by that is you could go through most of your life and you just need to know a little bit of math and you can do most of what you want to do. Unless you want to do something really advanced, you don't need to know a whole lot of math to do a lot of things. In some cases, you don't need any math. Like if I gave you a pizza and asked you to split it up, you could probably do it just by looking at it. Just use the eyeball method. Music is the same way. You don't need music theory to write music or play music, but it sure does help. And knowing a little bit of it can go a long way. Once you get into like the nebulous, learning tons of little details, it's a lot less useful unless you're going specifically in to that area where it is very useful. So let me give you an example. So for example, we use notes a lot. We notice that, when you hit certain keys and certain notes tend to go together. So we grouped these notes together and we called them a scale. And this scale, that's music. You've just done music theory. You've discovered a general pattern that seems pretty useful and you gave it a name. You've pretty much done music theory. That's all it is. Similar to math, for example, you might notice that we use quantities a lot, 1, 2, 3. So we decided to give them names. We called them numbers, 1, 2, 3. And that formed the foundation for a more complicated system. And then that formed the foundation for another more complicated system. Music theory is the same way. You've got frequencies. Those frequencies, we just sort of simplify it out as these are notes. These are pitches that occur a lot. Then we group them together into scales. And then we looked at those scales and those notes and how they interacted. And we called those chords. And we began to build out from there. So that's what music theory is. And knowing a little bit of it really goes a long way to doing a lot of music because now you have names and words to use to actually talk about what you're doing. A lot of people think it's going to stifle your creativity, but it doesn't stifle your creativity any more than math hinders your ability to solve problems. It's just another framework for you to use to do something. And you don't have to use it. If you want to be weird and random, pretty much kind of how you were before when you didn't know what was happening and you were trying to figure it out, you could still choose to do that. You could ignore all the other stuff. But music theory really is a great enabler towards creativity. In this series, I'm going to be revamping it to have these ideas in mind. I will be including now written music and MIDI at the same time. And if you don't know what those two things are, it's not a big deal. MIDI is basically how you write music in a computer using what's called a digital audio workstation, typically a piano roll. And sheet music is sheet music. It's the scary black dots on notes that musicians will typically read because that's easier for a person to read. And both systems are very, very useful. And knowing a little bit about each one really enables you to do a whole lot of things. So I'm going to be revamping this series to reflect this. And on the website now, I have a course that will go along matching with it. This course is in constant development, and I'm trying to make things that can actually be interacted with. But for example, here's the first lesson, and there's a few resources for you to check out. I've got a book called Sound and Synth Basics, and later on, there will probably be material specifically devoted to just music theory. There'll be a lot of interactable quizzes and things that will be coming, that will be added to this. There's the Discord server as well that you can go check out. There'll be a link in the description. There's also my website. And if you want to support me, I've got like a Patreon and all that other stuff. But it's going to be completely free, just a resource available to you. And I just hope to be able to teach you music theory. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down below. I look forward to developing this and really building it out to something that hopefully can be a great tool for you. Subscribe and hit that bell icon for future videos, and have a blessed day.